Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're having a great day so far. So today's video is going to be a get ready with me. A lot of you have been asking me to do a full face cruelty free video, so I thought I would go ahead and film this one for you today. I also used two palettes that I've been talking about a lot, and then a lot of you have been asking me a lot of questions about why I decided to go cruelty free, so I thought I would kind of chat about that in today's video. But I hope you guys enjoy this. I am planning on doing a lot more get ready with me's on my channel. I know that I've been saying that for a while, but I promise they are coming. I feel like I struggle a little bit when I'm trying to apply makeup and chat at the same time, so that's usually why I skip them, but they are fun to film. I love chatting with you guys, so if there's anything you want to see on my channel in terms of a get ready with me, just let me know in the comments below and let's jump into it. Okay, so I just started off with the Smashbox Photo Finish Lid Primer in the shade Light. They have a light, medium, and dark version, and then they also have a black and a white. I know that some people are on the fence whether or not Smashbox is cruelty-free, but I did read a really good article. If you guys want to check it out, I'll link it in the description box below. I am going to be using two different eyeshadow palettes today. So I'm going to be using the Tarte Pro palette, which I've had for a while. It is one of my favorite palettes. It comes with a bunch of mattes and then a few shimmer shadows as well. So I'll be using a lot of the matte shadows from this palette. And then I'm also going to be using the Tarte Make Believe in Yourself palette. This one has also been one of my favorites. It comes with a bunch of shimmery shadows and they are so beautiful if you want like a pop of color all over the lid. So those are the two palettes that I'll be using today. So I'm going to go in with this shade Classic, which is like an off-white, and just use that to set my eyeshadow primer. Then I'm going to go in with this shade Bold as a transition color. So a lot of you have been asking me to make a video on why I decided to go cruelty-free with my beauty products. So I thought I would just go ahead and sit down and chat with you guys about it today. I guess, you know, the reason I wanted to wait a little while was not to see if it was going to stick, but just to kind of share my general experience with going cruelty-free. So it's something that I've thought about for a while. So I do have two pugs and I love them more than anything in the entire world. Some of you guys might see them if you follow me on social media. I am obsessed with them, as are most people who have pets, and I just can't get enough of them. I think they are the best thing in the entire world. They bring so much like happiness and joy to our household because they're just a lot of fun to have around. And I'm actually a vegetarian. I have been for 10 years. And when I first decided to go vegetarian, it wasn't necessarily for animals. I just kind of, I guess part of it was I was really grossed out by meat. I was eating so much meat all the time. I was a teenager, so I was living at home with my parents and they ate a lot of meat. So whatever they cooked, I usually ate. And I just decided that I didn't want to eat it anymore. It was grossing me out for a lot of different reasons. So I decided to go vegetarian and see if I could do it, and it stuck, and I've been a vegetarian for many years. Over the years, I guess my reasons for being a vegetarian have definitely changed. One reason is that I just don't like meat. It hasn't appealed to me for a very long time. But also just like as I've become more informed about the industry, I think definitely a big part of it has been because of animals. I've seen the documentaries on Netflix and on YouTube about the way that they're treated, and it just kind of solidified my decision. And a few years ago, my husband actually became a vegetarian for health reasons, but I think along the way his views have changed as well, and he's really compassionate toward animals as well. We aren't vegan. We have tried a vegan diet in the past and we stuck with it for a while, and I would love to get back there. I would love to live a completely vegan lifestyle. It's just not something that we are focusing on right now, but I think eventually we'll get there. I'm going to go in with the shade Profesh and just blend that right into the crease. So I started seeing more comments on my videos and other people's videos just saying things like, have you ever thought about going cruelty-free, or, you know, L'Oreal Cosmetics test on animals and different things like that. So it kind of just became something that I was more aware of in the back of my mind. And then I would also see more YouTube videos about cruelty-free makeup products, or I would discover YouTubers who were strictly cruelty-free. Occasionally I would see, you know, like a graphic post on Instagram or Twitter, which I'm not a fan of those posts. I personally wouldn't share them. Being a vegetarian for 10 years, that's never been a way that I've tried to get other people to stop eating meat by sharing those graphic posts. I think it's important to be informed, but I think you also have to be a little bit careful. You know, you don't want to, I guess, force your lifestyle on somebody else, and that's not what I'm about at all. So I kind of started looking into it. I just kind of would Google which brands were cruelty-free, what it took to go cruelty-free. I'd look up YouTube videos of people who did like cruelty-free makeup declutters just to see what they got rid of, and I felt a little bit overwhelmed for sure. It sounded so overwhelming to me that I didn't know where to start, because I do have a somewhat large makeup collection. I try to keep it pretty downsized, but I film YouTube videos, and one of the reasons why I hesitated was completely selfish. I thought that it would affect my YouTube channel. I thought I would alienate so many products and so many brands that I couldn't feature on my channel, and a lot of my channel is based around affordable makeup, so I didn't want to cut out all of the drugstore brands because a lot of brands are not cruelty-free. I also thought that it might affect potential sponsorships or relationships that I already have with companies that are not cruelty-free, which are completely selfish reasons. I think, actually, truthfully, I think a lot of YouTube channels have that in the back of their mind. I mean, you built up your channel on reviewing products, and to think about alienating what I thought at the time was like half the brands out there was a little bit nerve-wracking, to be honest. I just thought a lot of people would unsubscribe from my channel, that nobody would want to watch anymore because they wouldn't be interested. And like looking back now, it's kind of funny to me because kind of like the opposite has happened, but at the time that was one of the reasons why I just didn't want to do it. I'm going to go in with this shade Fierce and work that into the crease, and then also the shade Vamp and work that one into the outer corner just to darken up the eye look a little bit. So I remember Brady and I were on a trip to Boston, and for some reason I could not sleep that night. I think I woke up at like 2 a.m. and I just could not fall back asleep. So I was on Instagram, YouTube, and I was just like Googling cruelty-free info, and I just decided, I remember like the next day when he woke up, I'm like, animals are important to me. I love makeup, but not at the expense of testing on an animal. So I'm going to go cruelty-free with my makeup. I said, not that I don't care what it will do to my YouTube channel, but if I lose some viewers over it, you know, whatever. It's not the end of the world. It's more important to me to, you know, to do this for myself. I just kind of wanted to try it out for myself. So I remember he woke up the next morning and I was like, I'm doing it. I'm going cruelty-free. And he was like, good. Like, that's something you've been saying you wanted to do for a while. I think it's awesome. You know, I'll do it with you. And he doesn't wear makeup, but he said like he'll help with the household items, with, you know, all that kind of stuff too. So I decided, I just made up my mind. It's more important to me than YouTube views. If people were going to unsubscribe to my channel, then that's fine. If I was going to lose sponsorships, then, you know, it's fine. A lot of you guys tell me that you feel really overwhelmed when it comes to going cruelty-free or thinking about it, and I totally get it. That is one of the reasons why it took me so long to finally decide to do it. I have a lot of makeup and I just felt overwhelmed thinking about, like, every time I went makeup shopping, like searching through all the brands and seeing which ones were cruelty-free. But I want to encourage you guys, like, I tend to be an all or nothing type of person. Either like I'm going to go all in or I'm not going to do it at all, and that's the reason why it took me so long. And I think it's important to know you don't always have to be like that. Everything doesn't have to be all or nothing. You can start small. You can start with your hair products. You can start with your lip products. You can start with drugstore products, and it doesn't have to be all or nothing because it can be overwhelming. But there is a lot of great info out there. A lot of you guys have given me so many resources. I love Cruelty Free Kitty. I love Logical Harmony, and those are like my two main sources that I always check for cruelty info. They do a ton of hard work, so you know, you don't really have to do as much. Just go to their website, and if you're interested in finding out if Too Faced is cruelty free, you can put it in their website, and they usually have an article pop up letting you know. To be honest with you guys, I feel like it's actually been a little bit easier than I thought it was going to be, which I'm happy about. I think even if it wasn't as easy, I would definitely still do it, but the fact that it has been a little bit easier than I thought is definitely something, you know, worth mentioning. Something that I did that made things a little bit easier was that I would go through my everyday makeup drawer and put a sticker on the products that weren't cruelty free. So every day when I opened up that drawer, it just kind of gave me a reminder of which brands were not and which ones were. And surprisingly, most of my collection already was cruelty-free, which was awesome. I just cleaned up the edges with a makeup wipe. You guys, every time I do my makeup on camera, I feel like it just looks like a mess. So I don't know what it is. I think it's just something about, like, I'm so far away from the mirror. I'm just thinking about talking. So, you know, I don't know how this is going to turn out, but we'll see. So I'm going to go in with the shade Fairy from this palette. It's the really beautiful purple. There are so many pretty colors in this palette that I love wearing all over the lid. I would recommend using your finger with these shadows. You can use a brush. Sometimes I'll use this ColourPop brush that they came out with for the lid, but I really just like using my finger because I feel like the shadows go on so much better. So I'm going to go in with the shade Fairy right here and place it all over the lid with my finger. Honestly, I was not sure about this palette when it came out, not because the colors aren't beautiful, beautiful. I thought I would get so much use out of the colors. See how pretty that color is? Like, that's just with my finger. But I bought the Tarte Reinforced of the Seas Volume 2 palette that comes in similar packaging. Like, it kind of has a similar layout, and I had no luck with that palette. I honestly like had high hopes for it because when I swatched the colors, they were so beautiful, but when I tried to apply them to my eyes, they didn't look as nice, and I don't know if I gave them a fair shot like using my finger, because I wonder now like if a lot of the Tarte shimmer shadows apply better with your finger. And then I'm just going to blend out the edges so it doesn't look as harsh. A lot of you guys ask me which brands I'm going to miss purchasing from the most. I would definitely say Benefit Cosmetics. I love their blushes. I think they're amazing, but unfortunately they are not cruelty free. So many of the higher end brands are cruelty free. I definitely think it's easier to find brands from like Sephora that are cruelty free versus the drugstore. The other brands are just drugstore brands. Like, I'm going to miss going to the drugstore and trying out the new products from like Maybelline, CoverGirl, L'Oreal, but you know, there are a lot of great drugstore brands that are cruelty free, like Essence, Elf Cosmetics, Physicians Formula, just to name like some of my favorites. Some of my favorite higher end brands that are cruelty free would be Tarte Cosmetics, Becca Cosmetics, Kat Von D, Too Faced, Smashbox. So there are so many brands that are cruelty free, which is amazing too. So I would encourage you just to check out Cruelty Free Kitty or Logical Harmony, even if you are not cruelty free, just because it is interesting to see. I'm going to line my eyes with the Kat Von D tattoo liner in the shade Trooper, which I can never manage to do on camera, so I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then I'll be right back and I'll move on to the face. Okay, let's move on to face makeup. My face is very red today. I have been having so much trouble like matching my face makeup to my neck and my body because I did get a little bit of a tan when we were like at the beach. I don't know if you guys can even tell on camera, but my neck is still pretty light because my neck didn't get tan at all, and my face didn't really get tan. My face is like so red right now because it's hot, but the rest of my body got tan. So I've been wearing like a lighter foundation to match my neck, but then it's completely a different color than my body. So I've been struggling a little bit. I'll show you guys what I'm using in a second. I'm going to go in with the Milk Makeup Blur Stick and just use this as my primer. This has been my favorite go-to primer because it does a great job at smoothing out the skin, blurring pores, but also I feel like it helps with oily skin because it just completely mattifies your skin with a soft matte finish. So it's not anything too intense, but it does a really great job. So I just apply this all over my face and then I rub it in. I think, you know, when this first came out, I wasn't really into it. I didn't think it was something that appealed to me, but now that I've been using it and now that the hype has kind of like died down, I see why people really liked it. I will say it does interact a little bit strangely with some of my moisturizers though, so I have to be careful what I pair it with. I'm going to go in with the Urban Decay All Nighter Waterproof Longwear Liquid Foundation in the shade 1.5. We'll see how it goes. I can't decide which color I am in this foundation. During the winter I was wearing 0.5 and it matched perfectly, and then 1.0 was a little bit off. I don't know. I have like yellow undertones on my entire body, but my face is always like really pink and really red. So I try to match it to the rest of my body. It looks so strange though when I first apply it. Also, I know I apply foundation weird. I apply it to my face and then I buff it in with this e.l.f. Ultimate Blending Brush, but it just seems to work best for me to work in small areas. So just a few more things that I want to touch on. I've gotten some comments on videos. I think they're completely genuine, you know, just asking me if I think cruelty-free is a label that companies use to kind of sell more products or appeal to a larger customer base, but they might not be cruelty-free. I think one person asked if it was like a greenwashing term because sometimes brush companies will say they're cruelty-free, but they will use animal hairs, which I actually do need to do research on, you know, which brushes are cruelty-free. I haven't purchased any more brushes since I've gone cruelty-free, but I'm sure some of the brushes in my collection are not cruelty-free. Anyways, I totally get that. I think a lot of companies do use the label cruelty-free, and you have to be careful. You have to be an informed consumer. Mink lashes, you know, a lot of times refer to themselves as cruelty-free, and in my opinion, and a lot of other people's opinions, there's just no way they could be cruelty-free. A lot of companies will claim to be cruelty-free except when required by law to test on animals, and I don't want to go too in depth into that because there are a lot of people that are more just that are better educated on that than I am. So I'll put some resources in the description box below. But basically when they say that, they're not cruelty-free because a lot of times they are selling in a market that requires them to test on animals, and that's their decision to sell in that market. So that automatically makes them, you know, not a cruelty-free company. So I'm not not going to say that sometimes it isn't a marketing scheme, because I think, you know, sometimes it is. Sometimes companies like to put off this front that they are cruelty-free. They even put it on their labels, or they'll put like the Leaping Bunny logo, which is like a company that actually certifies other companies as cruelty-free, on their products without, you know, Leaping Bunny's actual certification. But you have to understand that, you know, it's like that with everything. A lot of makeup companies will market their products as natural and good for you, and then if you do the research, you realize they're using the same ingredients as everybody else. You really have to be an informed consumer and realize that so much of the beauty, you know, industry, and every industry, a lot of it is deceptive marketing. I'm going to be using the NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer in the shade Light to Vanilla, and then I'm going to be setting my entire face with the Pure 4-in-1 Pressed Mineral Makeup. I have this shade Light. You can actually use this on its own, and it gives you pretty good coverage, but I like to go in with a damp beauty blender and apply it all over my face because it gives you such a flawless finish and it makes everything stay in place really well. I just really want you guys to know that I am not trying to force anything on you. That's one of the reasons why I don't really talk about it a whole lot on my channel. One of the reasons why I haven't made a video like this. I don't want people to think that I'm trying to force my ideals on you, because obviously I have purchased my fair share of products that are not cruelty-free. Not everybody in life is going to share my passions, my ideals, and that is completely fine, you know? You might be passionate about something else. I don't think I even really talked about it when I first started out, because I don't want people to think, you know, that I'm judging you, or that you can't watch my videos any longer because you are not a cruelty-free makeup buyer, or that I think I'm better because I am. I mean, obviously I have purchased my fair share of products that are not cruelty-free over the years. I think the term cruelty-free kind of turns some people off because it's overwhelming, or, you know, or you might know that specific person that's always trying to like force their lifestyle on you. That's kind of like me with the term vegan. It kind of just puts, like, it conjures up this terrible image in your mind of somebody who is always angry and trying to force their ideals on you, and that's terrible because that's not what veganism is about at all. And I can see how, you know, cruelty-free would kind of do the same thing, because sometimes on YouTube you see comments of people, you know, being like, I can't believe you're using this brand, you're a terrible person, and I don't ever want you guys to get that vibe from my channel. To be honest with you guys, a lot of people don't even know that makeup is tested on animals. I've gotten so many comments on my videos since I've gone cruelty-free of people saying, I didn't even realize what it was. I didn't know there was a difference between makeup that's cruelty-free and that's not. And I think that's really cool. Like, that's all I want to do, is just bring awareness through my videos and not do anything different. I actually don't put it in the title of a lot of my videos, or I don't bring it up a ton on my channel, because I just want people to be able to find my channel organically and, you know, maybe watch some of my videos and not even know that I'm cruelty-free, and then eventually just hear it and maybe think like, oh wow, like, you know, there are so many brands that are well known and so many favorites that are cruelty-free, and I just didn't even think about it. I'm going to go in with the Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer and just use this to bronze up my entire face, my forehead, my cheeks. I feel like my face is still a little bit lighter than the rest of my body, but see what I mean? Like, my face has like a pink tone, my chest has like a yellow tone. I need to find like a better foundation that matches it, but in the meantime, I'll just kind of use the bronzer to help everything match a little bit more. Then I'm just going to take the Smashbox contour palette and use the darkest shade in the palette to just contour out my cheeks a little bit more. Sometimes I'll go in with the yellow shade just to like really define it, so I might do that as well. I'm going to be using the Tarte Amazonian Clay 12-Hour Blush in the shade Exposed, and this is just a really beautiful like natural look, or a natural blush that doesn't really distract too much from the eye look, so it kind of gives your cheeks like a nice flush but not anything too intense. I just realized that I never filled my brows in, so I'm going to fill those in off camera. I just used the Anastasia Brow Powder Duo in the shade Dark Brown, and I mixed them, and then I used the darker one on like the outer half of my brows. So let me fill those in really quickly. Okay, just a few things left. I'm going to take the shade Fierce and just blend this on my lower lash line. And then I'm just going to take my Essence Lash Princess False Lash Effect Mascara and apply this to my lashes. This one is one of my favorites from the drugstore. Essence is an amazing brand. I think that this is really comparable to the IT Cosmetics Superhero Mascara, which I just recently ran out of. I love that mascara so much. I am going to repurchase that one and this one because I'm almost out of it. I've gone through a few of these because it's just really good and it's super affordable. I'm going to go in with the Smashbox Spotlight palette. This one is the Pearl palette, and I'm just going to mix the first two shades and apply that right on top of my cheeks. I wasn't sure that I liked this the first few times that I tried it, but I've quickly become obsessed with it for days when I don't want too intense of a highlight. I really have become like a big highlighting fan lately, so I've been trying out a lot of them, and this one has been one of my favorites just because it's a little bit more subtle. Sometimes I get it like right on my bronzer though, which is not ideal. And then I'm just going to take a small brush and go in with the first shade, which is a little bit brighter, and apply that right in my inner corner just for a pop of color, a pop of highlight. I'm so bad at talk through get ready with me's because half the time I stumble over my words and I just want to like restart it, but I already placed the makeup on my face, so I can't. I'm just going to take a little bit of foundation. I like to cover up that freckle on my nose when I wear a full coverage look, just because all the other ones are hidden, so I usually go in and cover that one too. So I just place a little foundation, let it dry, and then just go over it with a little bit of powder. While that is drying, I'm just going to line my waterline. I can't decide which color to use. I don't know if I want like a really purple shade or more of a silvery shade. I think I'm going to go in with this one. This one is the ColourPop Cream Gel Liner in the shade Frill. It's kind of like a mix between a purple and a silver, so I think that one will work really nicely. I don't know if you guys can tell, but when I look down, like you can kind of see the pop of color. When I'm just looking at you straight on, it doesn't look like anything too unique, but I feel like it just kind of like opens up the eyes without being as stark as a white and kind of adding more of a fun touch. For the lips, I'm just going to line my lips using the ColourPop Lippie pencil in the shade BFF. Mine's looking a little bit rough, but it is one of those products that's like well used and well loved. Then I'm going to go in with the Too Faced Melted Matte Lipstick in the shade Child Star. This one has been my favorite lately. The formula is not my favorite because it kind of gives me like that ring around my lips, but the color is so beautiful that I can usually overlook it. I love this color. It's kind of like the perfect cool toned pink nude. So that's the final look. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions about anything that I talked about in this video, just let me know in the comments below, and I would love to chat with you guys, whether it's about cruelty-free makeup in general or why I decided to go cruelty-free. But I hope you guys have a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.